But it's a UNNC book because it has notes in it.
Yeah.
Anything interesting in that?
That's nice of them. Not saying soon.
No.
We still have this. I think that's
Yeah, me too. I was just wondering.
My problem is I see a uniform like and I know it's not my, like, that's a totally different world, but
You got
something about, yeah, yeah.
Why is that? No, this is on the Wi-Fi.
I used to try to do some work here. I wonder if the Dominicans saw. I was talking one that the Dominicans. Verbal to go.
Okay, wait. Not saying it's one,
Lucky 13.
St. Mark. Mark, you can say Mark. Mark, yeah, right.
That was. I did not experience it, but I was speaking in French.
So everybody. Everybody say hello. Hi. Hi. We have quorum. Paula is planning to be here on Zoom. He's still not fully recovered. She isn't here on Zoom, so I'm gonna take another minute. Anyone who wants to go get pizza, let me know. Or is anybody still with me, grabbing their refreshment? Grabbing their refreshment. Yeah. Okay, well. Did you have a chance to take?
I did. I submitted my, people they acknowledged they received it, so.
The people meeting. So we, I need to do a copy to, funding.
Oh, okay.
So now you just need 2 years.
Okay.
Or lost half a year.
You know, that
2 years.
Okay.
So we can have you,
And you don't hear good on
you
the.
can't hear, you can't sign anything yet.
I kept saying, what y'all saying?
Right.
Okay. Okay, are we settling? Let us call this meeting to order. My name is Laura Myers. I'm the Vice President of United Neighborhoods Neighborhood Council. Welcome everybody who's here on Zoom. I want to remind everybody who's here in person that ideally when you speak, you say your name, because when we get that afterwards transcript, it just says UNNC is talking, so we don't know who said what necessarily. And this becomes particularly relevant because we don't have anyone, unless someone volunteers, we don't have anyone taking minutes. Unless somebody wants to raise their hand right now for tonight, it doesn't obligate you permanently to take some minutes. Did you say, going on to the next thing. So, we're gonna do a roll call, and a board member voting status. So Marco has been volunteered to do our VACs for tonight. He twisted his arm, so can you call the roll? You don't, I mean.
I'll use one of these.
Yeah, you don't need to use the form, but you just use that to get your names.
Okay.
Yeah, just call the roll.
Got it.
We'll see, we kind of already can see who's here and who's not here, but we call it out loud.
Joshua Pierce,
Present.
Dolores,
Here.
Hunter Reese. Here. Candace Jackson,
Here.
Laura Myers,
Here.
Joe King,
Here.
Michael Soderstrom. Here. Edward Saunders,
Late.
Sarah,
Here.
Paula Sutter, Grace, Karina,
Here.
Teresa,
Here.
Michael Kimbrough, Chris Carlson, Diana Hoover, Chris Weed. Here. Betty Anderson. And Mark.
Okay, so, board member voting status. You're gonna need the cheat sheet. So, I believe, Edward will be here tonight, we discussed it, but he will be ineligible to vote because he's missing one training. Show King, unfortunately, you got the email, you're ineligible. Eddie Anderson is ineligible, she's missing 2 trainings. And for Marco, Alfonso is here, Marco did take the gender, but it's not on the sheet of paper.
Did you get the certificate?
I have a screenshot of it.
Can I see it?
Word. At least send it to, I finished it up. Try to go back into it and then.
Yeah, that's fine. So he's
Right, so luckily, that's how I twisted his arm to do the BACs. I was exhausted. So, we'll now review the agenda. And can somebody who's on the Zoom tell me if you can see the screen? Yes? Okay, so first is what we just did, then review the agenda, then public comments and announcements, general public comments on items not on the agenda. The next item is government agency reports and comments. So we have several people here for that. Next, then we have the election of UNNC's secretary for this year. We then have to go back and approve a proposal. Instead of just a scope of work, we actually have a proposal letter from Jan Zumwinkle, and we have to approve that. We then have a proposed community impact statement related to the use of artificial turf, or perhaps the end of the use of that. Executive committee report, president's report, treasurer's report, these both may be brief. Secretary's report will approve the July 11th minutes. My report, I think I almost just made it on the training. And, and then we have our committee reports. So we have planning and zoning, we have appoint an outreach committee chair, also some updates on summer outreach events, communications committee updates from Hunter, appoint an elections chair, appoint, if we still have time, appoint other committee chairs and NC Alliance reps, and other committee reports, if any, old business, if any, and adjourn. So,
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
thank you. Oh, we're good.
Okay, I think we're good.
We are good. So, next, public comments and announcements on anything not on tonight's agenda and not a government official. If anyone has any, Dolores.
Dolores Spears here. We're having movies in the park on Tuesday, August 6th at Leslie Shaw Park, 2223 West Jefferson. And Mothers in Action is having a back-to-school health fair Saturday, August the 10th. It's a drive-through only. You're given backpacks to the kids and it says health fair. I don't know how you get a health assessment if you're driving through, but that's what's on the flyer. Also, let's see here. Lemert Park is having a jazz festival on August the 31st. And Washington Irving Library is having an adult book club. And that's starting on Wednesday, August 14th. And that is, let me see, 4117 West Washington Boulevard. Oh, and let's see, this is the last one. This library, Pico Koreatown Branch Library is having their groundbreaking ceremony on August the 5th, and that is at 694 South Oxford Avenue in Los Angeles. That's the Pico Koreatown Branch Library. That's it.
I'm sorry, what was the date for the adult book club meeting?
Okay, that is August 14th, from 12 to 1:30. That's all I got.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other public comments, general public comments? Okay, the next item is government agencies, reports and comments. Is council District 10 here?
No, they are not. I got received a text from Eric, they were not.
Oh, neither one.
Well, because Danielle came last time, I thought that this
Okay.
is Eric's time.
No, I understand. I just don't know who this phone number is. Okay.
It's not Eric.
No, all right, so, no, and then Alfonso, if it's can we do our, we have a guest from Representative Kamlager Dubs?
Yeah, you can go.
Okay, Jackson, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, can y'all hear me all right?
Yes. You
Hi, it's a
aren't
pleasure.
driving, are you?
No, I just parked. I came from another event. The
Okay.
field representative is so busy, but I'm so glad to be here with you all. My name is Jackson Benaroche. I am a field representative for Congresswoman Sydney Kamlager Dove. I cover the west half of the district, which includes the United Neighborhood Councils of Arlington Heights, Jefferson Park area. And I would love to share some updates from the Congresswoman's very busy last month or so. So I have a few updates written, and I also look forward to sending you all our monthly field report, which will have more information than I'll be able to share today. So first of all, I'd like to say that the Congresswoman led a letter to the president recently to nominate the late Reverend James Lawson for the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and it's the highest civilian honor. She, along with 12 other members of Congress, sent this letter to the president, and so we'll hear back shortly. She also recently launched the new Slow Fashion Caucus in Congress. This is to address some of the environmental and labor impacts of fast fashion, with 15% of clothing in the U.S. either reused or recycled. That leaves the vast majority of textiles and fabrics in landfills. And we're also hoping that through this caucus, it'll bring jobs back to the United States. And Los Angeles obviously has a very important garment industry downtown. I know that doesn't directly relate to you all, but I think that does impact everybody in Los Angeles and in the country as well. So additionally, it's been a very busy month. The Congresswoman introduced the Compassionate Assault Response and Empathy Act, which is CARE. This legislation would expand trauma-informed training for law enforcement personnel related to sexual assault cases. So we know that sexual assault cases, the vast majority of them go unreported. They estimate about 310 out of every 1,000 sexual assaults are ultimately reported, which leaves close to 70% not reported. And many of the folks who go through this ordeal report being re-traumatized while going through the criminal justice system. So this new legislation, if passed, would expand training to law enforcement personnel to more adequately respond to victims of sexual assault. Um, Beyond that, the Congresswoman also launched, with other members of Congress, the Global Migration Caucus. This caucus is to address both the crisis at our border, but also the root causes of migration throughout the world. We're dealing with a global refugee crisis, and this caucus would allow Congress to partner up with leaders in other parts of the world to really focus on the root causes of migration and the refugee crisis. I also want to let you know that the Congresswoman has been busy traveling as part of the Foreign Affairs Committee. She took a 3-day bipartisan and bicameral delegation to Mexico to inform her decisions on migration and particularly our relationship between Mexico. And lastly, just try to keep this as brief as I possibly can. The Congresswoman joined Mayor Karen Bass, as well as other local leaders, in welcoming Secretary Pete Buttigieg of the Transportation Department to celebrate $139 million of funding to Metro to support the Reconnecting Communities program, to expand their electrified bus fleets. And she also sent them actually handed the secretary a list of transportation projects in the district that desperately need federal funding. So she's hard at work, and so are we. And I'm happy to take any questions or comments that you might have. I also want to let you all know that if you need any help at all with a federal office, whether that be passport expedites or some issues with USCIS, whether that be visas or citizenship help, our office can help assist with that. We have a great casework team, and I just want to introduce myself as one of the newest members of the team. My name is Jackson again, and I'll make sure that I send my contact information to the president's email so you all have access to my office particularly. But thank you all for welcoming, and I'd be happy to take any questions that you may have.
So here's what we're gonna do. Paula's here, but we kind of had pre-agreed that I will be the person watching her hands in the room, so I switched my role to moderator. And Paula is chair.
Okay, thank you, Laura. Hi Jackson, maybe you can put your information in the chat. I'm not sure if you're on the phone, if you could put it in the chat.
Yeah, let me do that right now.
Okay, that's great.
Give me a moment.
Sure, and we've had Naomi Riley attend this meeting before. Where is she and what's going on?
Yes, of course. So while I put this in the chat, I will say that Naomi, our outreach director, also covers the eastern half of the district, and she has been the best coworker I could ask for. But I've helped her relieve some of her workload because she was the only field representative in the office for quite a few months. So I'm a new member of the team. I will be the best point of contact. Naomi will also be available should you have any questions that you'd rather refer directly to her, but I'm just another resource to connect you with any federal agencies or advocacy for the federal government.
Okay, great, thank you very much.
Of course.
Dolores. Hi, Dolores here. Are you taking Herman's place?
Excuse me?
No, that's
Herman, no, he was with Assembly, I'm sorry, confused, wrong legislative office. I do
No problem.
have a concern, and I don't know if the Congresswoman is aware of this, but there's an issue with police officers that end up being bad cops and they transfer from one department to the other. Is there something on the national level that is being done to prevent that?
That is a wonderful question. I don't think that there's been any specific legislation to address what you're talking about, but the Congresswoman is very much aware of that that being an issue. I will absolutely relay that to both her and our legislative director, Gabrielle in Washington, to see what kind of legislation we can introduce. To be perfectly frank with you, and I hope to always be perfectly frank with you all, without control of Congress, there's not a lot of legislation that we can pass this term, but what we introduce can be reintroduced in following sessions of Congress that will be more likely to get passed. I can tell you that the Congresswoman has been, I say the vast majority of legislation that she has introduced so far in her first term has been related to criminal justice reform. And I would love to direct you to either the website, or I can send some information out about the specific legislation that she has introduced. But that is noted, and I will absolutely convey that to the Congresswoman and her legislative team.
Okay.
Hi, so King, I do have a question. Is there a certain type of legislation that she does, or is it anything and any concern that a citizen or a constituent would have?
That is a really great question. So, a little bit of both. The federal government will deal with these big, grandiose problems, but she specifically sits on the Foreign Affairs Committee and the Committee for Natural Resources. And within those committees, she sits on the Western Hemisphere, and the Subcommittee on Africa for Foreign Affairs, and she sits on Natural Resources Subcommittee of the I'm sorry, I'm getting all my words mixed up. In any case, she does focus on specific policies, but she can introduce legislation that would is not pertaining to her committee assignments.
Hey, thank you.
Of course, thank you.
Elizabeth, you might need to stand up.
Can you see me? Thank you for what you do. I'm very excited about Cindy Kamlager's coming into herself as a representative. I was excited to see that the clean energy bill just came out of the Senate, 4753, mentioned in Barrasso. I wonder if we're going to see that in the House, and what Representative Kamlager feels about that. I mean, she's natural resources, and that was the Committee on Natural Resources. So, what would make her support that?
That is a great question. And before I speak on behalf of the Congresswoman, I want to check in with her and check in with our legislative team. But I will absolutely get back to you with an answer on that. I'm sorry I can't be more helpful. I can also say that while the Senate may pass some really great bills from my perspective, because it's a split Congress, it's very unlikely that certain bills will get passed through the House because of the partisan nature of our politics right now. But I can absolutely get back to you on her personal position on that energy bill. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, Paula, I'm going to hand the gavel to you.
I would just like to remind everybody, we now have 13 people present. In the room, so the board members on Zoom are ineligible to vote.
Correct, because of the four.
They just can't vote. Pardon?
How many are there?
Oh, okay. Well, three. But, no. We're not suggesting that. I mean, again, it's just that when as long as we don't have quorum physically then the Zoom counts. And anyway, so Paula, we're in government reports, and the next person up is Alfonso. And
Thank you, Jackson.
thank you, Jackson.
Yes, I just want to say thank you, Jackson. I'm sorry I came in late. Oh, man. But you were very thorough and informative, and we do appreciate you taking the time to be with us. And I'm sorry I can't be there, everyone. I'm having some transportation issues, but I'm fine. I think the last time I wasn't feeling well. I'm fine. So thank you all for being there. And let's move on to Mr. Alfonso. I'm glad I didn't miss you, Alfonso.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Alfonso. I'm with the Department of Empowerment. Just a few updates. Our new general manager, Carmen Chang, she did post a listening session with South Central Unnc. I know that Laura was able to attend for a few minutes. She did hear your concerns about issues within the department. So hopefully she'll be addressing that soon. Another thing that's very important for our department is the surveys. I know you've been getting phone calls, emails from me, emails from my other staff members. It's very important for the department. We're really pushing it hard, as you're aware. We're trying to hit at least half of all board members have completed the survey right now. So that's very good, but we're trying to get at least 100%. So that's our goal. Hopefully we'll reach it this time. It's just general questions. If you haven't taken a look at it, if you don't complete it, you'll probably still receive more phone calls. If you have completed, you'll still receive emails and phone calls. It's not for me, but from other staff members. There's no way of tracking of who's completed or not unless I emailed you and asked you if you have. So that's the reason why, because it is anonymous. Again, Congress and Neighborhoods, that's gonna be September 28th. I know I always talk about it. Very important for the department, very important date. So if you're able to attend, just join. If you have any questions about the event, feel free to call me or ask me. And that's it for me. I can answer any questions.
For Congress and Neighborhoods, we've sent out I know you mentioned date, time, location.
Yeah.
Is there gonna be something official coming out with that?
Yeah, so I did meet with the planning committee. They are hopefully by the end of this month, they'll send something out where you can RSVP to. It's gonna happen. So they have enough funding now for it to happen. So that was their main issue. That's what they were pushing back. They weren't sure if it was gonna be either Zoom or in person, but they did confirm it's gonna be in person this year.
Cool, thank you.
Anybody else have a question? Okay, yeah, slaves on.
Yeah, so it's gonna be at the end of this month in August. It's usually the 5th week of the month, so it's either gonna be Tuesday or Wednesday. I know that the homeless liaisons, they are still trying to figure out what's the best way to address the issues and how to help the interim councils address them. So I think they're gonna have either LA Care or another presenter join the meeting and give a presentation. Any other questions? Or maybe not. Alright.
Thank you, Alfonso.
I'll be here just till the end of the meeting.
Okay.
Thank
Holly,
you, Alfonso.
The agenda, right?
Yes. Have we heard from the CD10 report?
We don't have one tonight. They're not-
Okay, wonderful. All right, well then, our next item is to elect a secretary, and our own Sarah Long Henry, because of changes in her personal life, is having to step down. And I think I sent out an email asking if there was anyone interested or anyone available to take even the minutes for this meeting, and I got crickets. So we're posing this to you in person. Is there anyone that would be willing to fill in as our secretary or nominate someone?
Oh, we're all willing to nominate someone. It's just they won't say yes.
Yes, but sometimes that helps.
I'm looking that direction, but I wasn't necessarily looking at you. So actually, folks, what's really important, it's not just taking the minutes, but in our bylaws and our standing rules, it's an officer. So when we meet at executive committee, we have five officers, 5-member executive committee, and it's subject to quorum. So if we're one person short forever, we can probably get the minutes done. We can probably figure out another way to do our VACs, but we're always gonna be struggling with that, and we will when we're missing an officer. So I really hope that you guys can seriously consider somebody who can be an officer, join us on the officer level.
Yes. Very important.
Oh, okay.
This comes up every time we have appointments, especially with the secretarial position.
Mhm.
And the suggestion has come up every single time, have the board considered hiring someone to do minutes?
Wouldn't really help on the officer level, though. I mean, the thing is, we're recording these meetings, and that includes a transcript. So from a pure technical point of view, in terms of illegible but actual, we have minutes, we have de facto minutes that can be translated into official minutes, but we have minutes. But what we don't have is this, that's not a good way to handle it. It's just tonight we're handling it that way. I think we need an officer.
So that's the more important point, we need that secretary as an officer on the board.
Right. As opposed to needing to hire someone to take minutes.
Right, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, you're saying that the minutes are actually being handled by technology?
Well, tonight,
Well, I'm saying, is that something that can be done on an ongoing basis?
no, because, I'm gonna see if I can bring it up.
There's a transcript that happens all the time.
Right.
Every meeting, but those then have to be put into a formula that shows who's talking essentially, right?
Right,
And it's not for every meeting, I mean, for the governing board
But-
meetings.
okay, yeah.
Just for the governing board.
right, well,
And
exactly.
we also have YouTube,
Okay.
on YouTube,
It can't be done, but it can't be done by AI or any other technology that could even,
Yeah,
and
can we
then.
go on AI?
it is being done by
You
AI.
wanna investigate? It is.
AI is a great
Transcription.
AI is a great resource, but human interaction is better, and we need someone to call the BACs.
Right, well, right, I was saying there's two different things. The secretary doesn't have to be the BAC person, so that's, let's just be clear, we need a person to do that as well. But I put up the caption so you can see what we're getting in terms of transcription. It's okay, but this is UNNC president talking. You talk. Just start talking.
Hello, this is Ann Saunders.
And it's still gonna come up as UNNC president. So that's what's wrong with the
Okay.
transcription.
Yeah, that's what I was just trying to.
Right.
clarify.
There's no there.
There is a there. It's all of us are UNNC president on the transcription. So that's why I do try and remind people to say who you are, but that's also why this isn't perfect. Also, it's taking everything, and minutes only need to be a record of our actions. And if it's a controversial thing, a discussion, it'd be good to have some context to the action that's taken.
So you're saying that if we would identify ourselves, it would be more accurate?
This would, this transcript would, for sure.
Yeah, in essence, but I mean, it would still say.
You're almost there.
Yeah.
I'm interested in the position, first I'm gonna see if I'm resigning my lease before I commit to that, so.
Oh.
I'm saying about it.
I didn't understand what he said.
Getting to the.
Nominate.
Secretary.
Yes.
Oh, both things? Oh, okay, if you can.
If it made it easier for you too, I wouldn't mind doing the ACs, I just can't commit to them. So.
Okay, so Paula, I think we're inching towards a solution, but we don't have it tonight. So we can find time.
Yeah, I didn't understand what was just said. Okay.
Where I said, there's discussion in the room among people who are maybe willing to do secretary or BACs, but we're not gonna
Okay.
solve it tonight.
Okay.
So we should move on to the next item.
Yes, okay. Thank you, everyone. Please really, really think about this. And, contact myself or Laura with your decision and/or your recommendation. All right, so then the next thing is the proposal for website management for the fiscal year 2024-25 from Ann Zoomwinkle. And you're putting that up? Okay, Laura.
So I will say 2 sentences. I have to be careful, and then Hunter will talk. That was 1 sentence, so maybe I should say 3 sentences. The city clerk has been informed by people higher up that we can no longer simply approve a scope of work each year as we've been doing since 2020. And instead, each year, they have to recontract. And so Ann needs to prepare a new proposal each year, which would primarily be different from year to year on the paragraph about the what? Scope of work. So Hunter, I turn to you. I've got it up on the screen.
Not really any surprises here based off of what we talked about last month for the website. With the scope of work, she's gonna be doing general maintenance for it, so updating all the pages whenever they need it, changing any photos that needs changing. She'll also be taking care of the MailChimp, so all those like @UNNC email addresses. If you don't have an @UNNC email address, let me know. I'm working on getting those for everybody this next week, hopefully, knock on wood, been saying that for months. She's also gonna be sending the monthly analytical statistics. If anybody wants that, let me know. It's just basically how many times people click on each page of the website. She will also be continuing assistance with the live feed for the monthly meetings. Does she do that?
When it was Doug helped.
Oh, to upload them to YouTube?
Yeah, well, no, whatever assistance we may need.
Okay, and then some back-end like plugin update stuff, just updating the website. But this is just generally a more well thought out document showing what she does on a day-to-day basis, as opposed to what we were talking about last month.
Right, and yeah, it has bullet points instead of being a run-on. Yeah.
Okay, is this person Zoom?
Zoom.
This has been there all going
For
back?
many years.
Many years.
Okay.
Yeah, what's changed is what's required.
Okay, well, my question is, why is it that the red is still on, I mean, all the pictures and stuff on my computer come up with, our resigned
Right.
previous, I mean, all
But
that stuff.
Hunter, it's because that wasn't her job, it was
Well,
really Raheem, but now Hunter's taken over communications.
We had a Zoom meeting with her, last week, 2 weeks ago, where we updated everybody's photos, so you can see now that most of them are up to date. There's a lot of committees that don't have anybody running them, but for whatever we do have, they did update those.
And to further explain, the city is not, the city doesn't want neighborhood councils to be contracting with people to provide content. That's something, because the city owns the content, so we're providing the content. It's not just us, I mean, these are the neighborhood, all 99 neighborhood councils. So the contract, by and large, is for web management, not for web content provision. So she'll spot things that Hunter may have put on Facebook, or we might have put on MailChimp, and write an email saying, is this a good item to be a news story on the website? But she doesn't compose news stories for the website.
And I will say that if you notice any anomalies on the website, please just let Hunter know.
Yeah.
We got an email the other day from someone who said the link didn't work, so, you on that, Hunter, so just let Hunter know, and then he will work with him.
Yeah, Teresa and I just this past week went through every single committee on the website and changed the names, changing the photos, all that. So if you see something, especially in your committee, that needs fixing, let me know, or anybody else's too.
And I think Hunter's gonna give, on committee report, he's gonna give a much more detailed, update when here we are.
So on this thing, we need a VAC, and we need to vote to approve, Alfonso, let's say I have this correctly, approve the proposal for web maintenance by Ann Zumwinkle, zumwinkle.com,
for fiscal year 2024 through 2025. Does that sound right to you?
That sounds about it, yeah.
I move that we approve.
Do that?
Yes, exactly what Laura just said.
Item number 6, you just read what it says.
Approve proposal for website management for fiscal year 2024, 2025 from Amazon Legal. 6,000.
Okay,
Is it
so
still 6,000?
it's $6,000, and Show King has her hand up.
I just have a question. Are there like, samples that we can look at of the person's work or a portfolio of some sort?
Unnc website is currently up there. She's done pretty much all of it over the past few years, so if you see our own website, that's a good.
It's on our,
Well, and the other answer is if you go into the agenda packet for tonight's meeting, in the proposal letter itself, for this proposal letter, is a link on her website for projects for you to look at.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further?
Paula, you're mute.
My
There you-
phone was ringing, so I muted. She has been our web management person since I've joined or before the council. So she's been doing this for a long time. I just wanted to add that comment.
Yeah, okay, got it.
So we have a first and a second. Paula, do you want to call for the vote?
Yes, let's take the vote.
I'm not calling people.
Yeah, no, right, you don't call the people, but you're gonna have to write down Zoom next to their name
Okay.
or something, because they can't vote.
Yep.
Okay, sorry, so instead of absent, they write the Zoom where it
So
says
they will-
absent.
They'll be ineligible.
Yes, they're
Yeah.
ineligible.
Okay, so ineligible, write Zoom,
Yeah.
okay, because we don't wanna make them ineligible, we wanna make them Zoom ineligible. Oh, it got more complicated.
And
Dolores?
who is that that's tracking?
Oh, Marco's
Okay.
calling the roll.
All right, thank you, Marco.
Dolores?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Candace?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
So? Okay. Michael?
Yes.
Edward?
Yes.
Ineligible.
Oh,
Yeah, he's ineligible because
Jack?
you're gonna get your training.
the what?
You're gonna take your training.
Sarah?
Yes, he's had it.
Paul? Grace?
Yes.
Green?
Yes.
Marisa?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Chris? Diana?
Yes.
Christopher Weed?
Yes.
Betty?
She's out.
Betty absent?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you, Marco.
this motion passed, Paula, so we're now at Elizabeth. So, Paula, do you want to introduce this item, or do you want Elizabeth to just introduce herself?
Okay, wait a minute. We've just, we're now at the,
Item
okay,
7.
community impact statement for artificial turf.
Yes.
Okay, yes, no, please introduce. Or I can just read what's here.
Oh, no, great. She's here.
I'm here, I can talk. So we got a motion from the, Sustainability or Environmental Committee of the City Council, and they motioned to start to remove artificial turf. And those of us now, it's bad news. There's so many reasons it's bad news. It's hotter than heck when it gets hot. It's plastic and rubber. It's a compilation. You don't throw it in the recycling bin, you just throw it in the trash. Throw it in the trash relatively quickly, within, I think, 6 years. And it's some forever chemicals. So not only does it go in the trash, but as people walk on it, play on it, it breaks down. So it breaks down and then flows away with the rain. It affects our water. So those of us in the committee are like, how soon can you do this? The city council in its wisdom has chosen to study it. So that's all we're doing, is supporting with the CIS, saying, yeah, study it quickly. And so I want to rely on the wisdom of the city council. There's a reason they said study, there's a reason their committee said let's do this. And I say, we just want to support that.
Do you know that reason?
Okay, I think they're covering themselves in terms of there's a cost to replace, want to be responsible. We want to study what the damage is now, how much water it saves, what would you return it to? You know.
Right.
Yeah.
And can I finish it?
Yeah.
And then the committee went on to discuss, can we ask the city council to also take a look at incentives for replacing, just like you replace your lawn, now can you replace your artificial lawn? You know, can there be incentives for that? And also funding for more public messaging about, essentially why it's actually important to water some things. So in other words, just as they're no longer allowing gravel, they shouldn't be allowing artificial turf, but people don't necessarily understand why, if they're being told to save water, they're now being told, but use water to keep things alive. So there needs to be more education on this too.
If you put it around a tree, you still have to water that tree.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And thank you for coming to the meeting in person. I'd like, do you have any idea how many soccer playgrounds and recreation parks has artificial turf?
That's, I think, part of the study. Yeah.
So to answer the question, why did the city council to look, because there are many recreational park facilities that have soccer fields that have artificial turf, as we all know about PFAS, but there is a cost to replacing that artificial turf. And if it's replaced with grass, the maintenance and the cost of that maintenance. So I think that's something that I would like to know. You guys are just asking for more information.
Along with reports, I mean, this would, it's on the agenda.
This is the CIS that you're.
Yeah, it's on the agenda. Should I pull that back up, you guys? So
Essentially, we would follow, I think,
right,
the lead of the committee. My thought would be to immediately stop all installations that haven't already been, say, put in, even if they've been funded. Another couple of things, there's things I would change about it, including expanding the thought about it versus grass, versus grass versus synthetic grass. What are the other surfaces you could put on? What is its use? And then also, could you add an opt-in instead of an opt-out? Like, could we ask the people who want to put it in to justify why they want to use it right there? I was walking in Santa Monica yesterday and I just came across a heavily trafficked, shady section of artificial turf. And I was like, okay, I can see why you do there. Yeah, right. But there are 4, 5, or 10 different surfaces you could put in that exact area and not have environmental.
right. So, did you guys need the CIS read aloud, or the fact that it's on the agenda, we can make a motion and then
I move.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, this will be easy, but you move to this language as presented?
Yes.
Laura, is there, is that the final language? Are we, if everybody votes on that language, we would write out the language?
That is correct.
Okay.
And, the motion was made.
Is there anything you would change?
Yeah.
one,
Can add a sentence or do whatever edit you
Yeah.
are requesting.
I know that one. So, okay, so it's already been, moved and it's been seconded. Is there any changes? Michael, seconded. So if there are any changes, somebody would have to make.
Ask for a friendly amendment with the addition being.
to ban, to stop, I don't know, did we put in there stop whatever, projects are in their planning phases?
No, but I think, I don't think we can do that because state law has changed so dramatically that when a project is submitted, once it's deemed complete, you can't, I mean, on any land use level, they're not allowed to anymore.
Could we say to stop any project that hasn't,
Well, that would be a ban. If it hasn't been submitted.
You would have to go back through all the committees that it's been through already, we'd have to start all over again, wouldn't it?
so then we're gonna let whatever's on the books now.
Yeah, well,
continue.
yes, because I think, Elizabeth, what could have happened is that in committee, you guys could have sussed all that out and written a more complete,
No, well,
CIS. But this is where we are now, we have a lot of things on the agenda.
I'm simply trying to, I more or less support, not more or less. I more or less support what the city council proposed. And so second guessing and rewriting and asking the city council to rewrite their motion is unrealistic and not kind. So I think, yes, I think we go with this.
All right.
All right, so is there any other, we're good? Can we
Paula,
vote?
can we call for the vote?
Yes, please.
Dolores?
Yes.
Hunter?
Yes.
Candace?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Chris? Kareem?
Yeah, Chris.
Which Chris?
Grace?
No, oh, Grace. Did you call her Chris yet?
No, it's a Grace.
Oh, Grace.
I heard.
Teresa?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Go ahead, Mark, you stop, Mark, stop.
She's not in the house.
Yes, okay. Chris Carlson?
Yes.
Diana?
Yes.
Christopher Weed?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Right. Thank you all. All right, we're moving on to executive committee reports. And the first one is mine. And at this time, I don't have anything to report. So we're going to continue on to treasurer. Candace?
Everybody, this is Candace, the treasurer. Our mergers today is August 1st. Mergers are usually done around like the 5th or 6th. So we do not have a July merge to present. June we talked about last month, but I do have some updates on some funding requests that came in. The MPG for the movies in the park next week is being approved. It was approved like last week. So the tech should be to them already. We have a pause on the West Adams Avenue because we're waiting for some documentation so I can send that to Anna, but that should be done soon. And then we also have the Zoom account. That's pending, but should be fine with.
Not this, no, the Zoom, not this number 3, the Zoom account payment.
Right, the Zoom account payment that we voted on last time. So that's been submitted and they are approving that. And then I got an email. Today that basically said we will get a expenditure report analysis of what we spent our money on last year and what our rollover will be. That is in the process, is what the clerk's office said. So it should be available in September. So those are the updates that I have. We do have a couple funding requests, but that's for next time, because I have to go into executive meeting, but that's. Well, yeah, question. Oh, yes, question, do you guys have a system picked out yet? Okay, so this is where, the homie, Marco has a recommendation to share. Oh, can you log in?
While she's doing that, Martha, why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, so we're been looking at different options, technologies to add to our current technologies that we have. And we're looking at the OWL. I think we were approved for $2,000. This is way under the budget. It's about 1,300 total. Should be 1,300 or 1,400 with taxes and shipping, all that stuff. So basically what it is, it'll be set up here on the table instead of over there, and it has a 360 camera on this. We'll show you a video.
We can't meet ever again.
So the camera will be like set like right around this area, and then it has an extension mic that'll go all the way back. It's about 8 feet. The total reach that it has, and then it shows. It has an app that you download to the computer, and it automatically detects it, and it automatically detects it with Zoom. And then on Zoom, instead of like zooming into people like it is right now, it'll show you 3 people on like that are currently talking. So it's actually easier, like if 2 people or 3 people are debating about something or going back and forth on something, you can actually see online who are the people talking. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Okay, and now that I'm on,
Oh, now, wait. That means, hang on, I have to make a co-host.
Will, it require an HDMI connection to television?
No, so it just connects to this here.
And how will it be projected on the screen?
Well, because this will be still on the
Yes, yeah,
That's connected to the screen as it wants to,
yes.
So,
Let's go to-
require
to the website.
Yeah, just making sure.
Okay, I don't know, it's not a tech person.
Yeah, I think you essentially, the computer would be
To the
driving the TV, and then this would go into the computer.
Yeah, it's just, I think this is set up the same way right now.
So it's all Bluetooth.
okay, so I'm about to
No,
share.
it's wired in.
There's an HDMI to the television.
So, yes, so I'm going to share the screen, can y'all see?
You just scroll down.
Okay. So this is the owl. Yeah, I wanted these to work.
So cute. It looks like
It
an
makes-
owl.
It makes owl noises too.
Yeah.
When it turns into-
So let's let.
Wait a minute.
So scroll
Okay,
down
so
to
this,
like-
oh, okay, hold on, let me scroll. You wanna do it?
So this is just basically what I'm going to show here, which is like, as you can see, it changes when people are talking. And then you can see, it shows 360 view of the whole room, that's why.
It's so nice to have picky people on our team here.
Well, you know,
For
years.
Yeah, oh, so there's actually a bundle, I think.
Yeah.
Right here. And the bundle stuff, 1200, comes up to about,
Super cute. So
with taxes. Yeah. The bundle's what we're gonna go.
And do we know if any other neighborhood councils are using it?
I do not.
Okay.
Oh, you and Nancy just loves to
We
leave.
set in the pace of this device? Are we setting the pace of this device?
Are any
other neighborhood councils using that?
The owl?
The owl, the only other neighborhood council that I'm aware of is the board of neighborhood commissioners. They're using the owl device.
Is this good?
Yeah,
Yeah,
This is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
so, yeah, so you guys were the example of why a lot of things
Carol crazy.
are using the owl device, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
And we-
So do y'all want me to just stop
So the
sharing?
council.
Are we voting?
You're just coming in.
No.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Do we need?
Hang on.
I think you already approved the.
No, no,
The
no.
budget's fine.
We've already approved the money, so we don't have to vote again.
I just didn't want to pick one.
Yeah.
So, shout out to everyone who helped out. Yeah.
Teresa,
I'll
do you approve?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I second that suggestion.
You did remind me.
Yeah, I did, I was like, all right, enough already, come on.
Okay, now I'm raising my hand, so I will remind you that this amount of money is more than the credit card limit. So we will need, I can't just hand you, or Teresa can't just hand you the UNC credit card. We need to go first through the clerk.
My credit card is nice. To get it approved.
Yeah, to raise the limit.
And I'll take that off. So I'll probably get this.
Right.
Oh, and just a reminder, when you do that, it is time sensitive also.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we get an approval on a Wednesday, you pretty much have to do it on a Thursday,
Oh,
not Wednesday night,
Because
and not wait a week, so.
Otherwise, it's canceled.
Let me ask, Alfonso,
It is,
does the city have like a business Amazon, or do we just order it from
Oh, no.
anyone?
You don't leave the city.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm just asking, because for
No,
We'll
no.
say, because I buy
Use
stuff
our
for my
Amazon.
job. We have like a business prime, so anything you
The
like.
city, why does he want to say never mind? Okay.
I'll just make sure.
and there's no master account to purchase.
Not from the.
For the
Yeah.
set here,
Okay.
or wherever we use it, I'll set up a quick time around, going around, so I can show you. So whoever's gonna be there to actually set it up.
Whatever.
Well, that,
I'm 5 minutes early and plug everything in.
so that concludes my treasury report, and have more stuff.
So you'll check in with Anna ASAP and make sure that the DAC that we have is okay.
Why wouldn't it be okay though?
I don't know,
Maybe
they've been so picky.
What I'll do is I'll email her that we need to purchase it via credit card and see what she says.
Okay. So Paula, I know we're having, again, some side conversations, but it looks like the treasurer's report is concluded, and I am ready to put up the minutes if you want to call for that.
We don't have to approve the treasurer's report?
We do not, because
Okay,
there's nothing here to vote on.
Are you gonna use the?
all right. Thank you, Candace. So yes, go ahead and put up the secretary's report.
And actually, let me just interrupt. Do you guys think, this is from your gut, should we vote on a BAC that says this system?
No.
No?
We've
Fine.
already voted on the money.
Okay.
That's the total,
Yeah.
we've done our.
And this is teleconferencing.
Thanks, Alfonso.
Does it say the word teleconferencing?
Secretary's.
The pitch for,
It is, yes, it's a teleconference.
okay, fine.
Alfonso said it's fine.
All right.
You guys can't imagine how disturbing the side conversations are. It's very garbled.
Oh.
So while I don't intend to come to the meetings, While I
So we're
don't
gonna get a better system, Paula.
while I don't intend to come to the meetings this way, I'm glad I did, because this is really unclear unless you specifically are speaking one at a time.
Okay, we heard that.
And chastise me.
All right. But she's correct. We are supposed to speak one at a time anyway, based on Robert's rules. Anyway, what I was trying to say, Paula, is that it's concluded and I am ready, if you are, to share the secretary's minutes
Yes.
last month. Okay. So, oops, keep doing that. So we called the meeting to order. We reviewed the agenda. We had public comment. We had, we're doing the minutes. We had government agency reports and heads up about movies in the park. We did have one in our park last Friday, and nearby tomorrow night at Queen Anne Park is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which I'm reminded by reading minutes. We elected officers except not secretary.
Did I officially get elected?
You are elected as of today.
Okay.
The motion was to take the spot on August 1st, but we haven't done the admin packet.
Okay.
So you can't sign anything yet. We'll talk about that on a side conversation. At executive committee reports, treasurer's report, approved last month's minutes. We just did the same thing we did tonight. We reaffirmed the scope of work for Zumwinkle.com. We approved the administrative packet. We approved the MPG for Friends of Jefferson Library for the movie next week. We approved outreach expenses for the West Adams Avenue's Jazz and Music Under the Stars. We approved the funding for the teleconferencing system as just discussed. And we approved money for candy and cellophane bags. This is an asterisk, remind me, I just said asterisk. And we had committee reports. We finally appointed Hunter as communications chair. And the only correction I see on this is it's communications with an S, chair. Well, minutes. And that's our minutes, and that is our minutes.
I move to approve the minutes.
Second.
All right. Let's call for the vote.
Okay, here's my asterisk, forgot to mention it. We got candy at the back of the room. It's left over. Some of you are eating it now. The rest of it, so we'll talk about it under another agenda item. There's a purpose for the candy.
It's in the middle, boss.
Okay. We've already had our training updates.
We did that at the very beginning.
And I'm sorry, I lag on an updated attendance report, so sorry. Moving on. I didn't write it. I didn't do it, sorry.
So it's the next item.
Next item is planning and zoning.
Oh, crap. Okay. There you go.
So keep talking.
Did do this.
And keep it short.
No, we will keep it short. Metro, which are the people who bring you the trainings, has released the draft EIR for the Crenshaw LAX K lines northern extension. And this is the training, which right now ends at Expo in Crenshaw, is scheduled sometime in our lifetime to go north underground with a station at Adams and Crenshaw, staying underground to Venice, and then either turning west or going straight. And that's one of the things the EIR is evaluating.
Oh, so you're not gonna do both?
No.
'Cause I saw the plan.
Right, it's one or the other. And then have another station soon, and then other stations and other, so the EIR north of us is evaluating different routes. In our area, it actually is on the edge of UNNC, all the way from Expo to Venice, and while it's only gonna be up above ground at Adams, it might change the zoning all the way, the whole stretch, because of its mere existence. So the reason it's on this agenda in part is just as an information item tonight, and that information primarily is you can see more if you click on your, when you're at home, click on the agenda, you can see the whole thing. We will have this as an agenda item at Planning and Zoning next Wednesday. And if this board doesn't mind, I'd love to have a motion that we can write a letter to Metro right now asking for an extension of time. Because the comment period started on July 23rd, but they didn't actually tell anybody for another few days. That's not in effect for us, but it's only 45 days and ends on September 5, which is the daytime of our nighttime board meeting. So if we were to want to comment, we don't have another board meeting before that, but that we're not alone in that situation. This is a really short time period for such a major project.
Well, go ahead, yeah, how realistic is, what is the possibility that they will provide an extension? Because
20%?
Yeah,
So the other option would be that you allow UNC's Planning and Zoning Committee to evaluate it, decide if we need to write a letter, and allow executive officers to approve the letter.
I move that we have planning and zoning evaluated and present a letter to executive for final approval.
I'll second it.
All right.
Yeah.
Question?
I just don't wanna.
Right. Question?
Yes, Shokeen.
Ms. Showking, do I have time for a question real quick?
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. My question is about the K-line extension. I heard that, and I'm hearing you say that they're proposing for it to be extended. Is that to Venice and beyond Venice, or is that just to Venice?
No, it's gonna connect into Hollywood. Essentially,
Okay.
I haven't read the whole thing, but Christopher. Well, no, I see the map, so it's gonna try and connect to the red line, is that correct? In
Is that
Hollywood.
And then it's either gonna go up San Vicente.
And then go back to Hollywood.
And come back around, or it's gonna go that way.
Yeah, I mean, they wanna capture the Hollywood connection and bring everything, so the person could start out in the valley and end up at LAX one day, or vice versa, and bring South LA residents into Hollywood for work, beyond. So, I can't imagine that UNC is gonna have a whole lot of commentary about the route through Hollywood. But we may, I haven't read it thoroughly, may have some commentary about the Adams and Crenshaw Station. I don't know.
It's show.
It's shown, so she's talking.
Can she be muted?
Yeah. Okay. All right, so, but here's the thing, it's just that we haven't read it yet.
So I'm sure, if you wanna know more, you can come to the planning and zoning meeting, and that's when it's gonna be further discussed.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. When, are those the ones on Wednesdays?
Yeah.
Yes.
The Wednesday before the term or something?
Definitely, it's on Wednesday, the August 7th, is when we're scheduling this.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Mr. Baker.
Okay. So there is a motion. Anybody else?
Yeah, somebody seconded.
I did.
Yeah, no, I mean, is anybody else have any questions or comments?
It's just the letter being a pure request for the extension.
No, Teresa said, let's not ask for an extension, let's just write a letter. Essentially, the motion is, go ahead and study it, write the letter, and have our executive officers approve your letter.
Because there's only a 20% chance that we're gonna get the extension anyway, and if we delay it, then we won't even have a letter to, an opinion on the.
Right, and we may not have an opinion. I mean, in the end, we may read this and say, you know what, nothing to say.
Stop with that, this is really being considered.
Right, right. I mean, and it's gonna take out one or the other gas station, for sure, from what I see in the executive summary, because it's gonna be the staging site. Either the right-hand one or left one.
Okay, so do we need the AC?
We do,
Okay.
because we do.
One question is, what, so we're basically giving blanket authority to the planning and zoning committee to have an opinion in this letter?
We're giving blanket authority to the executive committee to have an opinion.
If you wanted to come back, we
I
had
just
this.
don't know Yeah, I just.
Could you summarize your views, or?
I don't have
I
any
just-
views.
I just like, why are we?
Okay.
Then
I
why are
mean,
we-
it-
It sounds like
okay.
there's nothing to talk about here.
There's something to talk about yet. Okay, I will do it a little bit better. What I can see from just the real quick look-see on the executive summary. They are having a station at Adams and Crenshaw, so that's a fact. It's mostly underground, but the other fact that's related to that fact is state law, which says that where you have a station for, you know, a high transportation volume station, it changes the zoning in a 2-mile radius to TOD, transit oriented district. And it could have a significant impact on the zoning in Jefferson Park and the zoning in the avenues. Or maybe it doesn't because I haven't read it. They may have built in some protections already in the EIR. So when you're commenting on a draft EIR, what you're commenting about technically is, have they built in mitigations or have they not built in mitigations? So that's just one thing. Another thing is that they will be acquiring land based on what's on this map, either on the southeast corner or the southwest corner of Adams and Jefferson through to the next block. And they're, for the moment, doing, that will be for staging. I mean, that'll be construction staging.
You said Adams and
Crenshaw.
Jefferson.
I meant Crenshaw. But once acquired, it will then become like Expo and Crenshaw, it will be owned by Metro, so then they will be building a building and a plaza and a whatever.
Did you say the southeast corner of Crenshaw and Adams?
I did, a gas station, or the southwest corner.
Where Woody's used to be.
Well,
Woody's is still there.
not the Woody's lot, southwest, no, they've got one or the other.
She said Southwood.
There's gonna be impacts in our community, is what I'm trying to say.
No, I'm gonna retract that, I'm gonna retract my motion.
Please, God.
Yes, and then even if we submit it late, I think it needs to come back to the board, because there seems to be a lot
Can
of.
I ask a question?
Yeah,
along those lines?
but if we submit it late, it won't count.
Can I ask a question along those lines?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a station at Expo and Crenshaw
Correct.
that is within 2 miles of some of the H pods in Jefferson Park, and it did not affect
Right,
it.
because they can't retroactively force the zone change. But this is a prospective, the state laws have changed. So now, you know, and I mean, it's not necessarily a negative. I mean,
Don't worry.
There's
a lot of unknowns.
So you're asking that the executive committee.
No,
give it.
it's a retracted.
Well, that doesn't mean someone.
Okay, but still asking, that's what you were. What I was going to say was, let it stay at the executive, give the authority, anybody that wants to discuss it, come to the meeting. How about
Yes.
that?
We can't have more than quorum at a meeting, just.
Okay. This is what we also could do.
We can have a special meeting on Zoom.
We can have a special meeting on Zoom, and/or we can call the executive committee a joint meeting of executive and governing boards since it's pre-scheduled. I mean, there's ways to handle this so that the whole board can see it without us violating the Brown Act. But we don't know what the "it" is. This "it" may be simple, and this "it" may not be simple.
How soon, question, Canada, how soon will we know what the it is? When will
Well,
we have?
sometime after, you know, we have a planning and zoning meeting on Wednesday.
Wednesday. And we'll have the full documentation of what the.
Alfonso has his hands up.
So, just for the Brown Act, right? So during your planning committee, what you can do is in the middle of that, when this person gets the presentation, have a special meeting, just addressing this issue. That way, all the board members can be there. And once that issue is adjourned, you can just adjourn that meeting and continue your planning committee.
Right, and you do remember, folks, and Alfonso, I'll just remind you, we're using that part of the Brown Act that actually allows this board to participate in our committee meetings. Every agenda except governing board, so I can't read it out loud to you,
cites that section of the Brown Act, the legislative code. So you can come to planning and zoning without us worrying about having too many board members. But we can't take a board action. We need a board meeting. But Teresa's correct. If it's that serious, we can do a 20-minute Zoom meeting with everybody having read whatever the draft letter is before you arrive and just vote for an approval, if or not.
I would motion we ask for an extension and go from there. If it works, it works. It doesn't, it doesn't.
Well, but then there's basically an 80% chance that we get no input.
Well, because we're just one little cog. This is not like the city, asking the city council or
Right, of course.
planning.
We're probably not gonna have to. That's my motion.
Just a second.
No second.
I'm sorry, I got kicked out and I'm just now back. So please repeat the motion.
We don't have one at the moment.
Okay.
So
I like your original motion.
But, no, I think Sarah made a point. We need to see the planning and zoning. I mean, I say we, after planning and zoning. They want to see, what planning and zoning is gonna come up with.
Okay, well, here's how we can handle that, folks. It's really not our usual, but the planning and zoning committee, as an after meeting action, can post a draft letter into the agenda packet for that meeting, right? And that would, I mean, I don't know if it's gonna be feasible. I don't know if it's gonna be feasible because I haven't read the whole thing. It's hundreds of pages. I don't know if I need to read the whole thing. But my best guess is this is a letter that would end up being no more than 5 pages long because it is gonna be a narrow focus because the bigger part of the project's not within our boundaries. And it's probably just seeing if they recognize the character of our community and how this will have an impact on it or not.
It's either included or it's not included. If it's not included, we'd want it included. I mean, I think.
So I'm gonna go back to that original motion that planning and zoning prepare a letter, put it in the agenda packet for executive committee. Anyone who has any thoughts or comments on that, read it, come to executive committee, share that, and then executive committee can make the final approval. That sounds.
I second that.
Yeah.
Well, she.
Oh, that's right. I can't second that.
Well,
I second it.
well, or should our original seconder have a chance to say, that's a different motion, isn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, okay, so, you got a second.
No, I think Paula seconded.
Well, she can't.
Yeah, I can't because I'm not there. I forgot.
Not that other.
Oh, okay. Oh, there you go. Good to you.
Third place.
Okay, Lawrence,
Yes.
Hunter,
Yes.
Candace,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Grace,
Yes.
Corinne,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
Michael,
Yes.
Chris Carlson,
Yes.
Diana,
Yes.
Christopher Reed,
No.
Okay. Just follow up to previous cases, the Hanks Wilshire Tow hearing is on the 14th of August. I will send out the information. On,
Okay. I have a question on that.
mhm.
Did we,
We voted to oppose. Right. So Paula, I'm done with planning and zoning.
Okay, thank you, Laura. Our next item is to appoint or have someone volunteer to be our outreach committee chair. Before we do that, thank you, Dolores. She stepped in and she did a phenomenal job. And we want to thank you for that. And is there anyone that would like to volunteer for that position, Outreach Committee Chair? Am I hearing crickets again?
You're hearing crickets.
There's no one that has considered this? Okay, so now, and we have summer outreach events, Leslie Shaw Park movie on August the 6th, Jazz Under the Stars on August the 30th, 31st, and September 1st.
Yeah, and I have a comment. Are you coming at 6 or? Okay, so can we do, so August 6th is Tuesday.
It's what?
This, August 6th, the movie at Leslie Shaw Park is Tuesday.
All right.
It's National Day Out.
National Day Out.
Or
National
Night Out.
National Night Out Against Crime. So there's other events around town, but ours is good. There's kids play, I guess, starting at 4 in the afternoon. And then the movie, I've already, pull it up. But, and we have candy in the back of the room. So the reason I brought the candy is because, I don't want to keep it any longer because this was candy we bought for the other movie. And it should be going back out to this movie, but I was not planning to go. Why? You guys have heard this before. It's my birthday.
Oh.
Have to. I mean, I have gone to so many board meetings. I've gone to so many board meetings over the years on my birthday, but I don't think I should be having a whole candy on my birthday.
I'll do it.
Yeah, will you? Will you take the candy home? I'll take candy.
What's the
Well, it says that the children's activities.
It's 4 to 6.
Right.
I can go, but I can't be there at 4. Maybe there
I
at
don't think I
6.
shared
Does that
this
work?
properly.
This is like Leslie Shaw event. They're helping volunteers.
Okay.
They're what?
Well, UNC gets to have a table at Leslie Shaw Park, apparently by 4 o'clock, that's the trick. Yes.
The setup.
Candace, yes, but what about our Jefferson Park reps? One, dude. I know you do. You want to do it all by yourself?
I'll be there.
You'll be there.
I can't take the candy though.
Okay, so there's enough people.
And Dolores, you said you're doing?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, then
There's
there's enough
dollars
people.
for flag.
All right.
Where are your shirts?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I forgot again at the last one. All right, then.
Yeah, and I just want to say that for the Jazz Fest, I put a sign-in sheet. Anybody wants to take I put them in hour and a half increments. So if there are some nights, Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights, if you're interested, please just sign up.
What's the location?
It's on Seventh Avenue between West Adams and 25th.
Staying over for Friday night.
And before we leave,
Oh, this is actually Michael's thing.
The flyer.
My thing?
In the agenda packet.
Yes, it's the flyer. I don't know if it's ready or not.
It's the generic.
Yeah.
In the agenda packet is the annual generic flyer. It doesn't list who's
But I
singing
think
which
they're-
night.
They're gonna prepare.
Right.
It's in the works.
It's in the-
Hunter will send it out to everybody, or put it on our website.
All of the above, it'll go
I'll
in
let
there,
you know
yeah.
when you get the message. Oh.
We're done. No.
okay, well, before we,
Guys,
First.
Paul is trying to get our attention.
and it's a lot of garble again. Before we leave this subject, and Milton has his hand up, before we leave this subject, just remember, please contact myself or Laura if you would like to volunteer for the outreach chair position.
And Milton.
Okay. Milton,
Yes, hello to all.
Hello.
My name is Milton. I'm just curious to know how I can run for any of the positions that are available, or there's anything for any elections going on. That's just my main question.
Okay.
I mean, I saw
Yes.
the meeting today, and it seems like a whole lot of things going on, which is great.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome from everyone.
Okay,
And I
well,
appreciate
can we
all-
contact you outside of the meeting so that we can continue on? If you leave your information in the chat.
Sounds great. I will.
Okay, thank you, Milton, and thank you for wanting to get involved.
Okay,
Believe
so,
me, we got a spot for you somewhere.
and if we move on to the no, not the next, 2 items from now, we'll be talking a little about the election coming up.
Yes,
Okay.
because we're having elections this year, Milton, so, right now, we do have a few vacancies, but we are having elections, so stay tuned.
Stay tuned for item number 9D. 9D, and then E, but right now we're at C.
Which is Hunter.
Hi, so real quick, 2 things, communications committee. First, we're gonna start our communications committee meetings again. The first one will be 2 weeks from today at the South Seas House at 8 p.m.
Oh, you want it at
7?
8?
So on the calendar, it says online, it says 8, I prefer 7 though.
7 is what I booked.
7 it is. It's a Thursday, so 2 weeks from today. And
Whatever
these are-
time you want it to be.
I was just gonna say, if anybody else wants to be a part of this regularly, let me know, because I'm flexible, I can do any day, anytime, so if we do that, okay. Second thing is, for other committee chairs, we need to update the mission bios on our websites for each committee. Most of them have them already, they're just not synced up. Some of them are bullet points, some of them are paragraphs, we want to just get them in a place that are all 2 to 5 sentence categories, like just one short thing, goals that you want to accomplish, things you want to do. Remember, these are outward facing, so nothing internal, just things that you want to do, that you want the community to know that you're doing on your committee. That's it. Also, I can, Milton, I'm not sure if you're still here, but if you want, I can reach out to you as the new communications chair on anything on getting signed up for the elections. I'm happy to take that over.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. All right, the next item is appoint elections committee chair. Is there anyone interested in doing that?
Nope.
One at a time.
Right,
Okay.
so the rule, one singular rule is that you aren't a person, the chair has to be a person not running for election. And the committee members can be running for election, but the chair has to be not running. So either their time is up, but they're not running, or they're 2027 cycle instead of 2025 cycle. And if nobody volunteers, Paula, the president, becomes the chair. And she knows that, but she would, like somebody to volunteer.
So she's the exception, even if she decides.
She's not up for election.
And, outreach and elections can be merged as one committee.
Correct.
If someone.
Right, so because communications, outreach, and elections, all 3 have to work together, they can't.
Yes.
Separate because it all comes together.
Question, what does the member do?
Member of the committee?
Of the election committee? As a member, what do you,
Well,
what are your role?
I mean, I was a member under Lizzie, and, we
You
tried
discuss what kind of events you want to put out.
Well, we discussed what our theme, I mean, in other words, with the communications, I mean, in other words, your vote counts, your voice counts, some other thing, and what's the tagline, what's the visual theme? All of that, because have to do promotions, and then the problem is that it's gonna be only mail-in ballots this time. And I don't even know if, maybe Alfonso, do you know, did they even convince the city clerk to have ballot boxes, drop-off boxes? Or is it gonna be only mail-in?
Okay, so from what I heard is that they're trying to work with like Parks and Rec and Parks, to have ballot boxes there, they have the libraries, but the LA County ones, like the big yellow ones, I don't think they're gonna use those this year. So those would be, not allowed. Another issue is like the whole, because it's Popa Mel this year, I don't know if you're self-affirmation for this NC or if you ask for.
We're self-affirmation.
Okay, so that won't affect you, right? But other neighborhood councils, they ask for IDs. It would be a whole issue of asking for the ballot, because they would have to know and proof of where they live at, like a copy of their ID, in order to receive that.
Right.
So you'll probably receive an email from the department soon, saying that they're gonna allow an addendum to your bylaws to allow self-affirmation. So that's something that's.
But we already.
Yeah, you already have it, so it's not gonna.
Correct. So, so in answer to your question, Craig, a lot of what we were doing was planning little events. You know, candidates forum or meet and greet, you know, and then we tried the big event. That didn't work out so well, but we tried to have a big event, Earth Day event right next door to the place where people were voting. And we had a beautiful event, but in fact, nobody came, except for our wonderful vendors. So that, it didn't work. So we tried things, but, so it becomes a lot of work if what you're doing is events. And then the, kind of the grid is, you've got it, there's 3 top sections. It's getting people to run as candidates, then getting people to apply for the absentee mail-in ballots, and then the final piece is send them in. You know, in other words, get the word out that you've got to send them in. Here's your deadline for your postmark. And so it's just a lot of, how do you communicate this? You know, what works, what doesn't work. You know, we have not had a lot of successes with this kind of thing. So hopefully it would be people with new ideas. Because, you know, I'm saying all the things we've done in the past, and we should be thinking about things to do in the future that are different than the things that failed that we did in the past. So ideally, it becomes a robust committee, regardless of who's the chair.
You have a hand up? Chris?
As an area rep, I'm gonna suggest that we maybe try to incorporate a greater involvement of our area reps, because they are our closest to the ground of our residents and our stakeholders. And since we have our area reps, we could try to really involve our area reps in several parts of that, getting the word out, helping people, maybe some events at the area rep level to help people know how to request the ballots, and even having some sort of event to make sure on voting day that people.
Well, there's no voting.
Or wherever the boxes or whatever, even just maybe you can, provide a stamp if they have emailed directly, but if there's a Dropbox, but making sure they're part of the communication to area by area to get that word out on the local level. That's only my suggestion.
So this requires a chair to pull all of these ideas together. And and then working, of course, with Hunter as well. Not as a chair. So did anyone want to raise their hand to be elections chair? Or are we moving on?
We're moving on. And I'll be calling you.
Yeah. Yeah, because I didn't. Oh, I did. Because look at what we moved on now.
Can't understand you.
The next, okay. We're having side conversations again.
Yes.
They might be positive. Well, we'll talk about it later. Okay, so we are on the item E, Paula, which is the.
Appoint committee chairs and NC Alliance reps.
So is that documented in the thing? So I don't know, can you pull it up, Laura? We have a lot of committees. I mean, Hunter has just updated the website. We have inactive committees, an economic development committee, and Ed, talked about that. But we also have a lot of city alliances that we need board members to participate in. So
look, I'm deleting the word vacant.
Just roll.
I haven't yet. I haven't shared it yet.
Sure, are you?
Dolores and I were discussing.
Wait.
How can you be on
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the rule is, as long as you're not the chair, you can be on the committee.
And stuff the ballots in your name?
Yeah, it's really, really hard to stuff the ballots because you have to go online and get an Angelino account in your own name, just to apply to have a ballot.
So what is
It's really, I mean, they don't make it easy.
No,
During
they
the
don't.
pandemic, it wasn't like that.
Now it is.
Every year, there's a problem with that whole.
I'm just
city
saying,
is,
but it'd be
my
really
question-
hard to stuff the ballot box with all the fake.
I was joking. What is the duties of the election committee if it's gonna be mail-in only?
Again, plan the printed material, plan the thing, plan, what it
To
looks
come up
like.
with a theme, then there are three events. One, to get people to come out, to,
Well, come out, be candidates.
to be a candidate.
Get people to be candidates.
Right. The second one is to have an event so people can come out and meet the candidates. And the third event would be encouraging everybody to mail in their ballot.
Right, and the meet the candidates may be more than one event. It might be little coffees here and there. It might be, as we discussed, a big Zoom candidates forum. If we luckily have 20 candidates for 10 spots, I mean, it depends what we have, but it's planning all the events. And what we have done this last time and the time before is we did also have a standalone event where we were helping people fill out their applications. So Dolores, you were at that one,
Yes, I remember that.
Right, but I have a photo of you, because we were all at the Arlington Heights, but we were trying to fill out ballots. So,
So what are you guys thinking? Co-chairs? Co-chairs? Co-chairs?
Okay.
I'm feeling the vibe, co-chair.
Okay,
Why are
John.
you looking at me?
What? Because you're talking to Diana.
She's just trying to get some information about it, that's all. We ain't volunteering for nothing yet.
All right, I think this is on Zoom. Paula, can you see this document?
Yes, yes, I can.
Okay. So I'm scrolling through the committee's document. And Elizabeth is leaving. You're sticking around or not sticking around for environmental committee?
What? Do you want to remain?
yeah.
Can you please, Elizabeth, I would just say that over the past year, you have not attended one meeting, and we have the different chairs that are not board members.
Tonight.
Yeah, tonight, okay. But like Tori Bailey is no longer a board member, but she comes in to give updates. So if you'd like to remain chair, I would like, and I think I speak for most of us, to come in and give us an update on some of the things that you're doing in your committee.
I think
Come in or
this was the
Zoom in.
first one that I felt invited.
You're always invited.
Yes.
Well,
Being invited passively is not the same as being invited actively.
But it's actually not inviting you, it's kind of a requirement as a chairperson.
Requirement.
Oh, Elizabeth, don't give us that, you've been on the board before.
I know.
You know.
Stop it.
Don't give us that guff.
It's gotta be fun. It's gotta be nice.
And you gotta be nice too.
okay, Dolores.
What?
There you go.
Okay, here we go. Elizabeth, let's
think about it. I like
Laura, stop the share.
for negativity. So
Okay.
I love you guys all. Sometimes the negativity is simply because you're all working so hard. I get that. But, all right, I gotta go.
Okay.
Looks like the answer was no.
No, that wasn't it. Okay, guys, you know what?
Yes.
You know what, you guys? Let's get a little candid here now. Elizabeth left, and she left in anger, and I will tell you why. She wasn't asked by any president to come at any specific meeting for any specific reason. She is not the only committee chair that doesn't do quarterly reports. She wasn't ever asked to. Teresa wanted her to do it, and that's not inappropriate. We've talked about it as executive, that committee chairs should do quarterly reports. But I don't recall getting anybody, including my own, quarterly report. You do monthly reports, so don't raise your hand. Yeah. So I think it was unfair to confront her tonight. It wasn't really, and she's right, it wasn't nice. We weren't nice.
Well,
And
I
we
don't
should
say
be
that, you can't,
nice.
so I had my hand up.
I had my hand up.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I've been on this board since 2012, when she was first on the board.
Right.
And it's the same conversation that she had back in 2012.
No, she was on the board and presented every month when she was on the board.
She left early too.
Oh my God, she did not leave early.
How would you finish her term? Because Donna Jones told me she didn't finish her term.
And if you're a committee chair, you already know that you're part of this
Okay, fine.
board, you're not a board member, but you know you have to give a report. What do you mean it's not automatic?
How would they know if no one is reaching out to them?
When you volunteer to be on the board, you're told what the rules are, what the commitment is. And so you're just gonna forget about that? Why do I was an outreach chair. Did anyone have to tell me that I had to give a report?
Everyone is different. Everyone is different.
So you're saying I'm special?
Oh, you're
Of course we are.
You're gonna be looking forward to it.
Well, I can't get anyway. Okay, guys, we have several hands up. I don't know, Paul, if you can see, we have several hands up. Chris is up, Grace is up.
Okay, before we do that, I just want to say, and looking at the standing rules, which I just was reading today, Code of Civility was number 2, and A says each member of the board and members of the public will respect at all times. And so the conversation did not sound respectful. And yes, you can be frustrated with someone, but that's the first time ever for me being a member of the board where I heard an exchange like that, except for maybe Teresa and I had one. So let's just
I apologize if I was not civil, and I will apologize to Elizabeth, but I stand by what I said to her.
we understand. So we are to promote and enforce a safe meeting environment. Disruptive behavior is not acceptable. Agree to truly listen to and bear other points of view. Take responsibility for your actions. So thank you, Dolores, for taking responsibility, and we're going to get this worked out because we're here to do a job and we don't want to waste time.
Okay, so Chris, then Grace have their hands up.
From what has transpired, it seems that we could, as a board, provide greater clarity across to all of our different committees, whether people are committee members on the board, committee members of the meeting not on the board. But if there's want regular reports, there should be a standing invitation to not only our community stakeholders, but to anyone who's serving member board to attend these meetings. And so I think we can do more, communicate the expectations and with clarity what we want. And I think with better clarity, what the miscommunication that just happened wouldn't happen because everyone would know ahead of time what the expectation. And some people are quick to pick up on intent and prior practice, but if you're not here on a regular basis, it might not be as clear to people who are always in the room. So I suggest we review our stuff, put it out there in writing, and make sure we communicate to every committee what the expectation is in terms of.
Well, I guess mine was one build up over the years on that particular issue, and it just spilled out this evening. Again, I apologize.
We got it. We understand.
But I think we can clear the air by just really.
And I'm only gonna say thank you, Paula and Chris. Echo your statements. Thank you.
I have one comment. I think that what I'm seeing is that there's a lot of people who've been on these boards and relationships, good, bad, otherwise, and then there's new who are just not familiar with what you already know. And I think that a lot of times, a lot of things you're taking for granted, the people who are relatively new to this board are not familiar with all of the baggage or whatever, and they're not familiar with what's going on. And so I think that we need to take that in consideration, that we don't all know what you all know.
Okay.
And, okay, so that's, and I think that would be, maybe we can communicate as a whole on a different level, you know?
Thank you, Ed. And I think,
My turn, Paula. Excuse me, Paula, I have a comment.
Okay.
For over the past year, every time we have committee reports, I have said, and when Laura speaks about environmental, I said, where is Elizabeth? Elizabeth is the chair. Can you please ask Elizabeth to come in and give us an update? Have I not said that every single time?
Yes.
And Laura knows that. And I have told Laura, please tell Elizabeth she needs to come in and report to the board what's happening in the committee. So for Elizabeth to stand here and say, oh, I didn't know anything about it, I think that is disingenuous because I know Laura has talked to her about it. So I feel, I'm sorry her feelings for her, and maybe I shouldn't have called her out, but I have asked many times to have her come in and give us an update on the environmental committee. So I'm not going to take the blame because her feeling for her. She should have owned it and said, yes, I should have been in here, I should come give you an update, but to say that I didn't know anything about it is disingenuous.
Okay, thank you. And what I was going to say is, and I will personally send out an invite to committee chairs for our meetings. So there will be something in writing and they will not be able to say, I didn't know, because they will receive the invitation.
Can I just say something?
Yes.
So I do want to remind the board of code of conduct. You guys just took that training. It's the new training. So one of the things that with the new code of conduct, it doesn't just apply to board members, it applies to committee members too. So it wasn't just Dolores at this fact. Paula did storm out. She wasn't acting professional. So she is under the code of conduct too.
You mean
I mean, Elizabeth. Sorry, Paula. Yeah. So it's a two-way street, you know, it's not just Dolores, it's not just one person. It's multiple people. So again, just remember they did take that training and just.
Did she take that training too,
She is supposed
Elizabeth?
to, yeah, she is supposed to.
Well, how is it available to our
So
non-board members?
that's why I also want to.
Committee reports are listed on
No.
every.
Okay. So code of conduct, committee members and the chairs, they're supposed to at least sign it and give it to the board, saying that, yes, we will act this way, and this is the reason why. Because it's just like it's always happened with boards, it's passions go up and conflicts happen. We're all human, right? Go ahead, Rick.
Thank you, Alfonso.
Was that paperwork given to the committee? I mean,
Diana, got her hand up.
okay, so what I'm saying is if like what he said, if they're supposed to sign a document, have they signed it? Do they understand what they're signing? And again, I think her reaction and what she said was a defense mechanism to be called on the spot. So when you're called on the spot in front of a room full of people, then you're defending yourself. So although she knows that she hasn't been coming to the meeting, what is she supposed to say in defense of herself when she's put on the spot? So I understand, I understand your concern, but the way you addressed her to me was a little on the curt side. Like, you haven't been attending any meetings as opposed to, we really appreciate you coming today and bringing your report, and we would love if you would, attend more meetings so that we can be aware of everything you're doing in the committee. That shows that you are concerned that she hasn't been coming, but you appreciate that she did come tonight.
Well, let me just say that when she gave her report about the artificial turf, I did say, thank you for coming.
Right,
So
but it
I didn't know.
negated, but then when you, at the end, it negated
what
the
you're saying,
thing.
we have responsibilities as chair.
Hello. We don't need to continue to discuss this. It is 9 o'clock. We all bear witness to what happened, and we can do better. Let's move.
Well, it's not
Are there any other committee reports?
You got it? Are there any other committee? Hello?
No.
Any other committee reports?
Is there any old business? All right, meeting adjourned 9 p.m. Thank you.
Yeah, missed it.